Talk about us aging out now, right?
Claire,
and y'all are saying the age is 35.
I know what you're talking about.
Is that
Well,
the discussion?
if we're talking about what Kevin was saying, he's referring to something that's been in China. They have something called leftover women.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what he's talking about.
Let me give it to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's an article that came out about 7 years ago, and China is going bankrupt because they have so many, or actually in South Korea, they have so many women who are unmarried, and they're not contributing to the tax base because women don't make enough money to support themselves in the society. Same thing here in the United States. Men make more money. We contribute more to the tax base. It is the men's tax money that pays for the roads, that pays for the ambulance, or the utilities that we use. It's men. So when a woman has a job, she's not making enough or not paying enough back in the system to take care of her end of the social financial contract that you have with the country. So that's what's going on in South Korea. They refer to it as leftover women, and they point to the age of 27. They are now having problems, like they are having problems with sustaining their country. And so Kevin quantified that and said, okay, well, Black or American women, the age is 35, when they stop being beneficial to, and I don't want to, he had this study down, but that's what he meant. And he's relating it to the United States. Here, ladies, use this. This is what's going on in South Korea. And it's also going on in Japan. So this is not just an American phenomenon. It's happening in all of the Western-based countries. In Japan, I know people, it's in the East, but they're still more Western than Eastern.
So what about giving a resolution to that? So at 35, you age out, right? You're done. So what is the suggestion that a woman should do at that point?
Just lower your expectations.
So I had said that like previously that, what he says is harsh.
As you all heard this clip from the Ghetto Boys Reloaded, Dennis Spurling is continuing to promote Kevin Samuels' bullshit. So I did some research for the ladies and gents in the Black community of the 35 over and leftover, or 35 and leftover. So Dennis Spurling is describing that Kevin Samuels got the concept of leftover women from China, being that they consider their women, if they're 27 years old and over, to be left over. And the reason Dennis Spurling gives is that, with the women working in China, they aren't, their income is not able to help China's society sustain their economy, and blah, 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 blah. This is total bullshit. So like I said, I did some research, and the reason that China has considered or has deemed their 27 years old and over women to be left over is because men are having a difficult time finding a wife. It has nothing to do with income. It has nothing to do with China's economy. It has everything to do with these men want younger women to continue their legacy or their family lineage. And they feel that younger women are more beautiful, more fit, and more feminine, so they want to marry them. Now, the reason China is having this problem where there aren't enough women to be married is because they aborted the majority of their female babies. So with the one-child rule that China has, a lot of couples were aborting their female babies and wanting men because they were able to, of course, build and, strength. And, China is basically run by men, and they are the ruling class. So they felt that women, the government felt that women weren't important, so they would abort them and keep the males. And so now what China is suffering with is that they actually have too many men and not enough women. So actually, the leftover term should be used for men. The men are actually left over because there aren't enough women for them to marry. So what they're trying to do is the women that they did decide to keep, or the women that did survive the pregnancies and were born, they're young, and they have a lot of old men in China. And so they're trying to encourage the younger women to get married before they wake up and realize that they can work, they can get an education, and they really don't need a man. So back in the day, women were considered to be the property of men. This is no longer going on. Women have freedom now to get an education and to work. And since they aborted their females, you have a lot of old men, a whole bunch of old men, and a whole bunch of young men that have no women to marry. So this bullshit that Dennis Spurling is spewing from his grotesque mouth is a lie. Kevin Samuels was a lie. None of his content was original. He got his um you know women marrying at a young age from the 1920s. He did it to get money. He did it to get rich. He did it to pay off his child support. He doesn't care about the black community. They and then if we even look at what Dennis Spurling is saying, how unmarried women in China and in America are not contributing to society, their financial status doesn't really contribute to society. How is it with women not working and getting married going to contribute to society? So the fact of the matter is, for me, guys, here's the thing. Dennis Spurling, Kevin Samuels, and this black manosphere want black women not to receive an education and not to work, so that they will be forced to marry these incels and men that are not appealing, too short, too fat, and too broke. They want them to be in the workforce and women not to be in the workforce, so that women don't have a choice as far as who they marry. So say for example, if all the black women stayed home and all the black men worked, you would still have your low earning income men, which will force women to marry these low earning men and live in poverty, come from poverty and live in poverty, not having a choice to go out and work, or not having a choice of choosing a man that they would like for them to be in their earning bracket. So, which means that if women didn't work, they would just be forced to marry the first thing smoking, because then you would still have men telling them that they're too fat, they're too skinny, they're too tall, they're too short, they don't look good, they're not a 10, they're not an 8, they're not a 7. So you would have a bunch of women scrambling around just trying to get married and would be forced to marry anything. So, no, China does not consider their 27 and older leftover women because of some economy. They are trying to force women to marry because there is not enough women. And so these old ass men or older men need to marry younger because this is all they have to choose from. Quit listening to Dennis Spurling's lying ass. He's in this YouTube game to make money. Quit listening to Kevin Samuels' bullshit rhetoric because it's not original. It doesn't apply to American women. And it's distrustful. You can't trust these men. You cannot trust these men. So anyway, I want to. So as a matter of fact, you guys, you can go look the stuff up for yourself. Just go look up. Let me see what this title is. You can go look it up for yourself, and they actually explain to you why these women are being considered left over in China. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I was talking about. So the title of it is China's Unmarried Leftover Women. And this is from, let me see, who is it from? Let me just show you guys. It's from Vice Asia. Okay? It has nothing to do with the fact that women are, I'll just play it. It has nothing to do with the fact that women are
Excellent. You are
are
absolutely
messing up
right.
the economy because they're working. So go ahead and take a look at this video, and it will clearly explain to you why women 27 and older are considered leftover in China. It has nothing to do with finances. It has everything to do with the fact that the government aborted all their female babies and kept them in, and now you have too many men and not enough women. Also, there are a lot of poor working men in China who cannot find a spouse because women have financial freedom. They're working. A lot of them are making more than men, just like women in the United States. We have a lot of women that are more educated than black men, more black women that are making more money than black men, and black women simply do not want a man that's earning less than them, that's going to treat them like shit, that wants a woman to be submissive to a man that's making less than her. So it's just Kevin Samuels once again with his trickery trying to trick black women into thinking that we aren't good enough for high earning men, or that our education and our income doesn't matter, because it does. And like I said, black men are the only race of men who think that one income is better than two. And then if you actually go and listen to this Kevin Samuels part 1 from Ghetto Boys Reloaded, if you really listen to the men that are talking on this panel, they themselves, you can hear the difference in the way they're speaking about women earning money. They speak very differently from Kevin Samuels. You can actually listen to one of the men on the panel say that Vivica Fox can slut him out, which means that black men don't feel, they don't have a generalization that women over 35 are old and left over. No, you have a lot of black men who adore their black women of all different ages, all different financial statuses, all different shapes, sizes, and colors, whether they are a 1 all the way to a 10. So you have to not listen to Kevin Samuels, Dennis Spurling, and this black manosphere try to isolate black women of a certain age and of a certain educational and financial status. Stop trying to let them alienate black women from black men, because it is not the general consensus of black men. So anyway, like I will continue to say, do your research, do your research, do your research. Whenever these men of the black manosphere come with this rhetoric and these ideas about how black women should be, or just women in general in the United States, go look up what they're talking about, because 9 times out of 10, they've gotten it from another country, or they've gotten it from an older time. It has no bearing on what's going on today or in the United States. The problem between black men and black women is that black women are educated, so we are up with the times. Black men are not educated, therefore their minds are able to be tricked into thinking about times that don't even exist anymore because they don't have the education of today. That black men's minds aren't up with the times. This is why there's a disconnect between black men and black women, and this is why black men can be brainwashed into thinking a certain way that a man wants them to think. So Kevin Samuels can come on here and say, oh, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that, because black men don't have an educational foundation to think for themselves and say, hey, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. That's not what's going on in these times. I'm out here in the workforce. I'm out here. I'm educated, and I can see what's going on in the world. I can see that the world has evolved from this old shit, these old ways, and you cannot bring the way China does its economy to the United States. You can't bring the way these other countries feel about their women and their workforce and what they're going on. You can't apply that to the United States. We have our own way of thinking. We have our own way of being. If we felt that China's way was the right way, we'd be doing it the Chinese way. If we felt that any other country was doing it the right way, then we would probably 9 times out of 10 be doing it their way. But no, you have white men who have established the United States, and they have their way of doing things, and these white men are not going to let these men of other races come in here and tell them how they should treat their women, because white men are treating their women according to how they want to, according to what makes their women happy, according to what makes them happy, and it's not the same as these other countries, or they'd be doing it the same. So anyway, this is B with the B Code, and I'm out.